Okay, welcome. Welcome again to this new presentation of the book that Luce, one of our coaches in training, you read this book and you're going to share as part of your training program what you have seen and what inspired you about this amazing book in your journey to get ready to be a professional coach.
Okay, so thanks, Christina, and thanks to all the present coaches. So I am presenting the book The Discomfort Zone by Marcia Reynolds. It was written in 2014. Who is Marcia Reynolds? Marcia Reynolds is an MCC coach, an author, former ICF Global President, and also a doctor of psychology. The book does not explicitly mention the ICF core competencies, core values, and code of ethics, but these inform every page of the book. So reading it has been very useful for me, especially in seeing competencies, value, and ethics put into practice. I have chose this book from the title, The Discomfort Zone, because I believe I'm quite familiar with discomfort. Not that I like it, but I've learned in the past that discomfort is a necessary ally in growth, and that a modicum of discomfort is actually a healthy motivator. And funnily enough, this presentation has soon become my own discomfort zone. And this because, well, I've never done a presentation before, and my first attempts were just a summary of the book. I also started working on a presentation before actually experimenting with a session as a coach. And also, I was supposed to read this book as a coach in training and not as my usual self. And these involved quite the committed transformation. So it's been a challenge working on this presentation. I was invited to reflect on my own experience with discomfort in a session as a client, because at the time, I had no other experience. And I have to say that I'm used to challenging my ideas, my beliefs, my notions, my convictions, and I'm also used to therapy. But I was not used to coaching, so my discomfort manifested itself on the high level of commitment, which is requested, and the autonomy that is also granted to the client, the practical focus of coaching. So honestly, at the very beginning, at times during my first sessions as a client, I almost replied to my coach, well, how do you expect me to know that? Questions were difficult. And then I committed to truly facing them, getting to the bottom of their meaning, and starting to envision their reply. But it's been that has been a challenge as well. So my discomfort at the beginning was really like, wait, do I have to do all the work? What is going on here? I wasn't very happy at the beginning, let's say. It was really challenging for me. What is the discomfort which is described in the book? The discomfort zone is the moment of uncertainty when people are most open to learning. This is the definition by the author. So what did I understand of this sentence? Reading the book, I understood that the discomfort zone is a specific and it's an advanced coaching technique, which is reserved for MCCs or, in general, experienced coaches. And this because coaches, they will willingly create that discomfort, that uncertainty with aptly focused questions. So it is a specific technique because it can only be applied in clearly defined situations. And it is advanced because it requires a mastery in knowing how and when you should employ it. But I believe that even though the book describes an advanced technique, that discomfort can happen in any coaching session, and it can happen both for the coachee, but as well for the coach. And that is something that I would like to discuss with my colleagues at the end of the presentation. And I would really like to ask your take and your own experiences with discomfort in a coaching session. The main thing, the main lesson that I got from the book, if I had to summarize it in a sentence, is that truly transformative learning about oneself happens in discomfort zones, but one can only be constructively discomfortable in a very comfortable zone. As I said before, reading this book and preparing this presentation has been discomfortable for me, but was also a very successful process that has sailed me towards thinking more like a coach and eventually actually even savoring being a coach. It was a discomfortable situation, but it brought change, a lot of positive change. And this was possible as I trusted the process, no matter what. And as Sunlight Academy is a very comfortable, safe, and protected space. Sunlight Academy is the embodiment of what Marcia Reynolds describes as the prerequisite environment in which discomfort can be creative. Discomfort can bring you something good only if you are in a safety bubble, in a space that allows you to get the most out of this discomfort. So there are 7 chapters in the book, and I will focus mostly, actually exclusively, on chapter 2, which is dedicated to the suggestions on how you create this safety bubble. And this has been the most interesting to me. It's been the most relatable one. It's also been the one that was most accessible at my level, and whose teachings have supported me in my own training. I could use the teachings of chapter 2 and apply them directly to my own training and using them as a suggestions to create a better environment for me to learn. And I will also refer along the presentations to the competencies that I personally have identified as supporting me most in reading the book, in working on this presentation, and also the competencies that somehow, to me, to my perception, stood out most from the pages that I was reading. And chapter 2, which is describing, giving indications on how to create this bubble, is titled What Comes First. And to me, what came first, reading chapter 2 and then reading this book, was learning that I really needed to understand the competencies before I could use them. And that the best way to understand them was actually to find them in me. I couldn't just learn them. I had to find them in me. And then I could start working on them. So what are these 4 actions that Marcia Reynolds describes as the action to create safety bubble? The first one is settle into the flow, and is described this way. When you're fully present, you are capable of perceiving what is occurring in yourself as well as in the person you're with. This has helped me a lot, seeing something that I guessed before, but I wasn't that much aware of, and that is my absence from the moment. I has never been really present, and reading these has inspired me to develop presence, first and foremost as something that helps my life, raises the quality of my life, my interactions, and then also helped me a lot in my studies. This way I could study coaching and apply my learnings in a transformative way. So something that I will use, that I've used in the sessions when I've started, using, practicing as a coach. And I have also to add that in developing presence and learning about presence, developing and working on it, yoga has been very, very instrumental. This idea of settling into the flow, working on yourself, developing presence has also encouraged me, and at the same time helped me to understand and embrace two things. One is 416 from the Code of Ethics, which says, commit to excellence through continued personal, professional, and ethical development. This line became really meaningful to me. And of course, competence 2 embodies a coaching mindset, engages in ongoing learning and development as a coach, and that was 2.2. 2.3 develops an ongoing reflective practice to enhance one's coaching. And these are the competencies that I saw in these. I've learned, and I'm well aware through the assessments, that a lot of competencies are often in the same sentence. They live together in the same time and in the same moment, but I'm just reasoning and presenting the ones that were very instrumental to my slow but very steady growth, if I can say. And the book is, as I said before, is an advanced book, and I'm sure I will read it a few times over during my training and even after. And every time it will speak to me in a different way, and there are different gains that I can get from this book. Then the other action number 2, among the actions suggested by the author, is set and maintain your emotional-based intention. What she writes is, if you are to succeed in building trust, a person must feel your intentions are in his best interest throughout the conversation and beyond. To do this, you have to remain open and curious to what will unfold. You have to release your own attitude, assumptions, and positions to allow the process to unfold. This highlighted to me, and again allowed me to understand better what embodies a coaching mindset means, which is described as develops and maintains a mindset that is open, curious, flexible, and client-centered. For me, it was not much client-centered at the time. It was coaching-centered. It was maintaining coaching as my aim, as my goal, as my way of thinking, reading, absorbing things. And as well, again, maintaining presence, is fully conscious and present with the client, employing the style that is open, flexible, grounded, and confident. And these has also helped me as I started practicing as a coach in, somehow restraining, silencing that automated reflex that associates to anything that the client says, my own personal experience and what I know about the topic or what I've personally been through. And it helped me to really try and focus on silencing, avoiding these, and really develop instead presence in the moment, and to create the space for welcoming the new, welcoming the other, welcoming the client. So for me, what I've learned, what I've got from these was the consciousness, the awareness that I need to open and let go. Welcome new things, let go all things, and be open and just really, open. Then the other thing that is suggested, and this is action number 3, is hold the highest regard for both yourself and the other person. He or she must feel you are an equal partner in the journey. This was very, very important to me, and it made me very happy. Many of us have a previous life, and the place where I come from was very ego-driven, and I was not doing okay there towards the end. So it offered me great solace, great consolation, gave me value and strength and energy to see the core values informing the ethical standards and the competencies, and really seeing that these are so aligned with my own beliefs, with my own way of being. Especially, I am aware of and actively manage any power or status difference between the client and me that may be caused by cultural, relational, psychological, or contextual issues. This is Standard of Ethics 411. And avoid discrimination by maintaining fairness and equality in all activities and operations while respecting local rules and cultural practices. These include, but is not limited to, discriminations on the basis of age, race, gender, expression, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, disability, or military status. And this is 425. And I was also invited by Christina, as I was working on a presentation, to reflect on the deep perceived meaning and the embodiment of the expression highest regard for both. What does really highest regard for both means? I think I am aware of my own prejudices, but I've learned through the lessons that I'm not aware of my biases. I fight my preconceived notions that I know are faulty, but I'm sure that there are some that I do not see. And I believe I've always worked hard on this, because my primary need in life is to be able to live with myself and be a person that I like and that I respect. But there is still a lot of work to do, and that brings us again, competence 2, 2, and 2, 3, engaging in constant learning, constant self-reflection. And then there is also a long way in terms of maybe for all of us, not just for me, to fully embrace the practice of honoring ourselves as well, and to really transform that into a habit that requires a lot of work and a lot of focus as well. The fourth action that is suggested by Marcia Reynolds to create a safety bubble is trust the process, no matter what transpires. Trust in the process, I have to say, has been what has supported me most. I have trusted myself the day that I quit my previous job. I've trusted myself when I singled out ICF, actually first coaching as the view for myself in the future. And then I singled out ICF, and especially focused on Sunlight Academy as the place for my training. And I have to say, and I want to recognize to myself that I did spectacular in this. And those months have been really, really painful months, and they've been incredibly discomfortable, but they brought a lot of change. They brought a complete revolution into my life. I have also trusted the educational process, even though my memory still completely refuses to retain the competencies, but I'm actually slowly and steadily, embracing them through my behavior and my thinking. And as I said, my first assignment was a bumpy road. I'm still young, let's say, as a coach, so I still have to really understand the true meaning of the sentence, trusting the client. But I will practice that, and I will explore that, and I will move in that direction as well. The word emotion I've noticed, and that was also very, very interesting for me, appear 6 times in the competencies. Emotions are mentioned 6 times in 2.6, 2.7, 5.3, 5.4, 6.4, and 6.6. So they are part of maintaining presence, active listening, and embodying a coaching mindset. Emotions, of course, can be good emotions or bad emotions, emotions that can be scary or emotions that can be pleasant. In my experience, trust is the antidote to the bad emotions. Trust nurtures the patience to endure them, the constancy to regulate them, and that allows for self-confidence to thrive. So trust has been very important for me. As we draw to the end of this presentation, I would like to add a personal note. Okay. So this has been my avatar on each, every, and all social media account that I have. It's everywhere. It's what I'm recognizable by. And it's more than 10 years I've used it. It's an artwork by Jake and Dinos Chapman. I've chose it for 2 reasons. Because when I saw it, it was just love at first sight. I was just like, oh, wow, this is me. To me, it functions like a selfie. It's just, I just love it. But also because I enjoyed how uncomfortable it makes people feel. I always like that. That is very confrontational. So I'm still fairly attached to it. I'm not yet ready to let it go completely, but I know that at some point, as I more and more become a coach, as I more and more, embody my role as a coach, I will let go and replace it with something less threatening, let's say. It will just be one of my favorite artworks, so it doesn't need to be everywhere associated with me. So my first 3 months when I wrote these, 4 now at Sunlight Academy, have been rich and very eventful. And I have to say that my greatest challenge and struggle was downloading the competencies into tangible matter, into something that I could grasp somehow. And that I've done quite some progress. And so mostly I've learned that you become a coach is not a job you do. It's a fully committed transformation of yourself. And working on this presentation, it's helped me better understand the competencies and learn that I need to find them in myself, as I said before, and really train them like you train muscles. So I would like to thank you all for your time with me and for listening to me. And of course, if this is not an end, is to be continued for us all. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Luce. It has been a very emotional presentation, also because you used quite some pieces of art. This speaks about you, about your connection with art as well. And thank you for bringing this material, these perspectives, and the story of you that is always amazing when we bring ourselves.
Thank you.
So I'll close this recording so that we can chat a little bit about that, and we will meet at the next presentation, at least next book presentation. Thank you.